All right, welcome everybody. Today's video, we find ourselves over here in Ayutthaya. I'm at Wat Mae Nang, or the Monastery of the Bell Tower. Now, I'm not going to stay here. I just want to show you kind of the contrast between this temple and what could be possible in Ayutthaya. Most of the stuff in Ayutthaya is just some ruins where you'll come out here and it'll be like bricks on the ground, and you can wander around and you can kind of look at what things used to be like. But it doesn't have to be like that. They could spend a little bit and invest into some of these ruins and make them spectacular. Now, this is the Monastery of the Bell Tower, and it's an old bell tower that you saw. You also use it as the entrance to come into the ruins. So we're going to look around here, and then we're going to go to the other temple that I've been to before, but all the buildings were locked up. And so hopefully today I'm got my fingers crossed that we can get in and we can see all of the old buildings. So let's see what we can see. So this is a really interesting structure right here. So it's an old bell tower, and you just come right through here. This is the entrance to come into this temple. Now, the bell tower is just the bricks now. The bell is actually missing, so there's no bell. But you come through there, the little tunnel, and you come right into the ruins. And the ruins mostly are just down to the base. So all the halls are gone, and the chetties, everything like that are missing. So this would have been the prayer hall here, and you can see the base of the columns, and then it has like a sandstone Buddha over there, but there's nothing left here. It's just missing. There are some historical records that this was built around like early 1600s or so, but they've had some issues with finding it on the map, and then there's some references back to one of the kings that, believe it or not, they specifically mentioned that he had one eye. So, and he was a king that lost to the Burmese in one of the battles, and he only lasted on the throne like a year and 2 months or something like that before he was executed in the traditional Thai way of wrapping him up in a velvet sack and smashing his neck with with a sandalwood club. So that's the way they disposed of the royals. And then another king took over. So this is the Buddhas that you can see, and they're in pretty decent shape, but they're headless. The vandals and stuff like that would lop the heads of them off. But yeah, this is all that's here. There's just a low wall and just a couple of the bases of the chetties. But the bell tower is definitely worth just a look, and you know, it's just kind of a hidden little gem here in Ayutthaya. And some of the local Thais are out here taking pictures and stuff like that. So anyway, let's go over to the other temple that I want to see, and we'll take a look around it. Okay, so we did a short little drive over here, and this is the place I wanted to come to. I wanted to come over here to Wat Mae Nang Pluem. Now, this is a restored temple. So we just went from the ruins of the Temple of the Bell Tower over here to Wat Mae Nang Pluem. And this temple dates back to 1377 is what I believe. And there's an interesting story between like King Narasawan and an old woman over here at this temple. So we'll walk around and we'll look at these restored buildings, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I know. All right, so this is the first thing you see right here. Here's the gate, and you can see like the kind of the rough plaster and one of the buildings. So there are two buildings that are restored, and then there's a chetty in the back and a few other things. So we'll take a look at this. This is the prayer hall here, and you can see how they've restored it. They've left it kind of in a rough condition with the bricks exposed and the plaster, but it is working. And there's a little marker stone here. I'm not sure what that's about, but the story of the temple, there's the Ordination Hall. We'll look at it second if it's open. Okay, so here's the outside of the building, and you can see they've restored it, and it's a functional temple. There's monks and residents and everything. So take off your shoes, go inside. Let's go up and let's look at this prayer hall. And you can see they have the Buddhas right here, and some people are out making some merit. So they'll light the candles and the joss sticks and stick the gold leaf. And then inside here is the hall. And they've done the same thing in here where you can see the bricks and then the plaster work. So this is definitely a contrast from that other temple that we just saw. So this is, I mean, this is really nice. It's, you know, it's history. They've tied their history and they keep it going, and actually the people can come here and use this building, as opposed to it just being a pile of bricks and a slab out in the trees. So this is the main Buddha here, and then you can see the columns and how they did the roof and everything. And it's just a simple building. Some of these buildings would have had murals on them when they were new. It's hard to say what was on the walls in here. They have a few pictures and stuff of the old building, what it used to look like. Yeah, I wish they would do so much more of this, where they would restore some of these buildings to where the Thai people can use them. There's a couple, but there's not a whole lot of the buildings on Ayutthaya that they've done this. So the front of this building has 3 entrances. So there would have been 3 doors. The 2 on the outside would have been for the normal people, and then the center door would have been just for the king. And we're not too far away from the former Grand Palace in Ayutthaya. Okay, now let's go over there and let's look at that Ordination Hall. Okay, so here is the little Ordination Hall. And we have a chicken running around here. As per Thai law at a temple, you gotta have some chickens. They're probably the best animal to have, so you see them everywhere. They eat the bugs, they give you some nice eggs to eat, and when they've finished their usefulness, they themselves can be ate. Okay, so here we are. So here is this little Ordination Hall. And you can see they have the little sema stones right there. And then, so you gotta go up the little stairwell to get over the threshold. And then they have the little designs around the door, which is pretty cool. I like that, that's really nice. And then inside of the hall, so you can definitely see this is the Ayutthaya style here. The white walls, the heavy wooden red shutters, and then the same beams across the ceiling, and then the main Buddha right here. This is really nice. Yeah, these halls are simple, and I just wish that they would put more of them back intact, and where you could go in and you could actually see them. I mean, they're just bricks. They could do them even without any lights or anything, instead of just leaving them as kind of like a museum of just bricks and stones all around. So they have a little bust of Chulalongkorn across the bottom, and then they have some old furniture and stuff. And over here they have a place for people to sit and then do like the little water and stuff they take and pour those on the trees. But the monks will come in here and they will have ceremonies, and then like the novice monks and everybody come in here. So you'll see sometimes where like the monks will be in, like sitting on this platform, and like the head monk will be giving them a sermon, and everybody will be doing the chanting and all of that. Okay, this building is pretty neat. Now let's go outside and let's look at the rest of the grounds here. Now you can see here, so here is the low roof porch. So all those old ruins, when you just see like a set of stairs here and there'll be like the pillars, there would have been like a sloping porch down here. And then all those that you see just like a sema stone just sitting on a pile of bricks, at one time they would have looked like this. So they build like the little arch thing over the top of them. And again, they would have just been, it would have been fantastic to see. But now they're just decaying to time. Okay, now let's go out and let's look at the chetty in the back. We can look a little bit more at this hall. Now the story of this temple goes back to King Narasawan, one of the written records about it. And apparently King Narasawan was out in this area, the story goes, and he was caught in a rainstorm, and so he was wet and he wanted to pull in someplace and dry off. And he came upon a little house that was out here, and when he entered, it was an old woman, and she was telling him to not make a commotion because the king is about sometimes. And so anyway, the king didn't announce himself, so she didn't know who he was. And so he was kind of bad-mouthing the king, and she's like, no, 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 son, don't do that, don't say that. And so she was kind of defending the king because she didn't know, she didn't know who she was talking to. And so anyway, the king was telling her to do stuff, and she's like, no, no, I can't do that. And so she kept saying, you just stay here, you lay down and rest, give me your clothes, I will dry them and wash them. And she gave him her clothes to wear and told him to sleep. So the king kept saying that he wanted to drink like arak, whatever that is. And she said, no, you can't do that because it's a holy month. And then finally she gave him some arak and said, no, I bought this before the holy month. And the king drank it. And anyway, the next day the king left her house, and then he came back later with his soldiers. And then he told her that he was the king and thanked her for being nice to him. And he took her into his household and treated her as his mother. And she resided with the king at the palace until she died. And then when she died, she was cremated and treated as a queen. So that's the story. So that's what the name of this temple is about. It's named after that old lady. And kind of an interesting little story. I don't tell it very well. I'll put maybe the description into, put that story into the description. Okay, so the chedi itself, this is really cool, has these images of these lions. Now the chedi itself, they say, is a Sukhothai inspired chedi. And there's, those have elephants, not the lions around it. So if you go to Sukhothai, there's a temple there that has the chedi with that. See Sachanalai and Kampeng Pet. There's also two temples here in Ayutthaya, Wat Maheyong and another temple that have the elephants around. But anyway, they say that the inspiration for the lions is King Boramaracha II, I believe is his name. It was when he conquered the Khmer kingdom in 1431 or so. He was inspired by the artifacts, and so he brought like the images of the lions and stuff back with him. And they say that's where the inspiration for the lions at this temple came from. So pretty cool. You can see them all around. And there used to be a whole bunch more, but they've kind of faded off. But they still have several. Pretty interesting to see. You can see there was 5 of them right here. I wonder if there was a total of 33, because the 3 and 33 goes into like the Erawan and stuff. I wonder if that's how many lions there were around it. If anybody knows, leave me a comment. Tell me down below how many lions there were at one time. And back here in the back, they have these little Buddhas and a bunch more chickens. And then they have a humongous chicken statue over there. And then they have another one of these little stones. Yeah, I don't know what these are about. There's no writing or anything on it, but it dates way back. Now the chicken I do know about, because King Naresuan, he, when he was a prince, he defeated one of the Burmese prince's chickens in a chicken fight. It's kind of a point of honor for the Thais. All right, so that finishes up our little walk around here at this temple at Wat Mae Nang Pluem. Very interesting. I've really enjoyed this. It's pretty cool seeing the old buildings that they've restored and they still can use them. Like I said at the start of the video, I just wish they would do a whole lot more of this because it's pretty cool. Now with Thailand, a lot of their history is gone. It's oral tradition, and then a lot of it goes through the temples. So the temples have a lot of it incorporated into the Thai history. Now there's also like a story about at this temple where they had a big elephant roundup, and there's the elephant crawl and stuff like that that's nearby. Elephants were vital to the Thais during their wars with Burma. They had the war elephants and everything like that. So they had a big roundup in like 1548 or something like that. So, you know, the war elephants were important, and then they also had the white elephants, which was part of the first Burmese war. Is the Burmese king wanted some of the white elephants that Thailand had. So, yeah, with the history of this, you know, all the buildings were made out of wood, and so they were destroyed, you know, either burned or faded away in time. Termites, all of that ate the wood buildings. So all that's left a lot of times is these brick temples like this. So anyway, guys, this has been a good little journey. So hopefully you liked it. We went to the temple of the temple of the bell tower, and then we came over here to this temple. So if you like the video, make sure you click like and subscribe to my channel if you're new. This is the kind of videos I do. I just go out and I walk around and I show you things that I see and tell you what I know. It's nothing fancy, just me and my camera. So if you like that kind of thing, subscribe, stick around, and the subscriptions let you know when I make another video. And leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. If you've been here or if you knew anything about it, tell me that also. And so until next time, guys, remember, life is a journey. Enjoy.